join me. Okay, welcome to the endorsement interview. Normally we try to give people equal time, but it's just you in this case, so that'll make things easy. We're doing this interview to determine who we'd like to endorse. Yeah, this will probably be relatively quick because it's just you. And we like to start these things out kind of just, well, first of all, explain what you're running for and kind of outline the district.
Sure.
Just kind of give us a quick few minutes about why you're running.
Okay, so I'm running for state representative for District 31. So District 31 is, I would say, way out west. It's Banks, Buxton, a little bit of Washington County, Columbia County up to Rainier, all the way down to Lytton, which is Multnomah, over to Gaston, which is, I think, a little bit like 12 people in Yamhill County. So I'm like, I always want to know who the 12 people are, so I can say, I'm your rep.
Do you know them all?
No. I'm like trying to get a list, like, who are they? I want to meet them. Like, did you know that your neighbor across the street is not in your district? And the reason I got into this, I kind of got asked to, but I've always kind of wanted to dip my toe into the political world. I thought it would be more in the Washington County Commissioner or Washington County side, but this opportunity came up and I was like, yeah, I would like to try it. And
how'd the opportunity come up?
And it was just, somebody asked like, hey, would you ever be interested in, doing this? And
Who asked? Was it someone like in your personal life or
Nope.
elected or?
Nope, none of those people. Like just to me, a stranger, did not know them. And I'm like, yeah, sure.
Can you tell us a little bit about where you grew up, work experience, civic involvement,
Sure.
that kind of thing?
So I live on the same property that I grew up on in the district. I've lived there my whole life. Went to Banks. My kids went to Banks. I was a mom for a long time and a stay-at-home mom, and I did like daycare in my house. And then my sister, who was a chamber president, called me and said, I need help. Can you like do some work part-time? Nothing serious. And then I ended up becoming the membership coordinator for the Washington County Chamber. It was then Hillsborough. And did that for a number of years, and then I became a realtor. And about 5 years ago, I have my own company now.
Commercial, residential?
Residential.
Okay.
3 kids are all out of the house. They're older now, and so.
What other kind of civic involvement have you been on? Boards, advisory committees?
I'm on 2 boards right now. I'm on one for Expose Hope, and they work with people that are in the trafficked and sex industry. And then I'm also with TVW Inc. So they place developmentally disabled people in jobs. And so I sit on their board as well, and they're both in Hillsborough. I'm hugely involved in a number of chambers, but at the Washington County Chamber, I'm an ambassador. I'm on every committee that you can, political committee, the land use one, all of those. And so I go to, I've been there in that realm for about 12 years. So I know I've watched Hillsborough grow. I've watched South Hillsborough come on the scene and how that went through quickly and not quickly.
How many employees do you have?
I just have myself.
Just yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, just one of one. Got it, okay. And how long have you had your own business in real estate?
I think it's 5 years now.
Got it,
Yeah.
okay. And you were endorsed by Brian Stout, correct?
Kinda.
What does that mean?
I met him one time.
Okay, did he endorse you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kinda.
Okay, but he didn't ask you to run or anything?
No, huh?
Okay.
No,
Okay.
we'd never met before.
Yeah, okay.
No.
Can you talk a little bit more about Expose Hope? Like when you say you guys work with trafficked people, but then also people in the sex work industry, this can be very different
They're
things.
different,
Yeah.
and like sometimes people don't know they're trafficked. They're like, oh my gosh, that's my boyfriend. I'm like, he's not your boyfriend. Like,
So do you mostly work with like strippers, I mean, what kind of, give us a
Right.
sense of what you guys actually do and who you work with.
so they strip club, people from that industry, even like bouncers sometimes kind of like, I want to get out of this, how do I do that? And just hooking them up with, resources to get to the next
Like
level.
what kind of resources?
Just community, or if they want to go to the next level, like help them like, okay, you want to be a realtor? This is what that looks like, and this is how you would do that, and getting out of that
How do you find people to work with? Like, do you go to the strip clubs or the?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't do any of that. As a board member, I raise a lot of money for them.
Mhm.
And they have teams that go out and do that
Got
and
it.
actually walk MLK or whatever street they're on
Oh.
and talk to people.
Wow. So the staff of organizations actually go out and like
Yeah.
seek people out.
They're volunteers. There's like no staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there, I mean, I would imagine like if I were the owner of a strip club and I had people coming in trying to like get my strippers to not be strippers, like is there ever tension? Because I don't think I'd be happy about that.
So same. I'm like, and I'm on the other side of the mom, like, I think this is really bad, but
You think it's what?
I'm like, I don't think it's great,
Yeah.
but
Wait, what's great?
like just having that in your neighborhood, but anyway, so they actually have relationships with the owners. So the owners are giving them permission to come in. Because if somebody's on drugs, they're not a great employee.
But isn't it about getting people out of the stripping industry and not off
Right.
of drugs?
Sometimes they're hand in hand, especially if they're trafficked and they don't know that they are. So, yeah.
So just tell us, what would your goals be if you're elected in legislature? What would be the big issues that you would focus on?
Biggest issues that so in this role is after talking to different people in, the kind of the Columbia County side of it, they really want manufacturing over there. They really want to have their families live, work, and play in the same area and not have to like commute 30 miles or 40 miles to, Hillsboro or, over the mountain. They want those jobs, good paying, living wage jobs in their county. So that's one of my directives.
And how would you foster that?
Looking at policies and procedures and things that come up, bills, and of which I have never done this before, so I'm not like day one going to be in there like throwing computers off the, this is what I want you to do. But looking and listening and see how those bills will affect the people in my district.
So what are your ideas for a couple of bills?
I would probably watch and see what's going on first before I say anything specifically.
Were there any manufacturing bills in like the past 2 or 3 years that the legislature passed that you were either in favor of or not in favor of, or?
Not necessarily. It's economic development is what they're looking for. So there's nothing that's like holding them back, so to speak, but like having that thought process when I look at bills that come through from that lens, if that makes sense.
And have there been any bills in the past 2 or 3 years that that you've been like, wow, that really does good things for Hillsboro in my district?
And Hillsboro's not my district.
Oh, okay.
So it wouldn't.
You guys are more west of that. Okay, well, in your district, has there been any?
So, well, in that perception of like CHIPS money, right? And we all know about that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's nothing like that necessarily for manufacturing, although it does kind of lend itself, as a supplier, just, having people come over the mountain to their side of the world.
What are the main industries in your district?
So it totally depends on where it's at, but logging is one, which our sawmill and Banks was shut down with recent, the cuts that they made in state forest. So they can't cut as much as they could. So the sawmill it's gone.
Would you like to bring that back?
There's things that you can do to make it where timber revenue can come back. I mean, it's a renewable resource and you don't want wildfires. So managing forests is a big deal because where Banks is like surrounded. I mean, and over the hill is Tillamook Forest. That's all forest.
Mm-hmm.
So maintaining those forests safely does include logging.
So you think we need to increase logging in the state?
You need to do it smart because you can't not do it and then have all the underbrush because that's where your fuel is. My dad was a 30-year Portland firefighter, so I kind of grew up knowing some of the stuff about fires. But you can maintain them and and have it where it's where it's making money for everyone, but also keeping it safe and environmentally friendly.
Where are you on like social issues? Choice, transgender rights, that kind of thing.
It depends on the exact thing. So I have been endorsed by Oregon Right to Life. However, with that said, I think that means all lives should be chosen to be right to life. So for me, like I will say this, that comes all the way up to like senior citizens and how they're treated. And
Right, but choice
Yeah.
is specifically about unborn.
I think it's already in the Oregon legislature. It's already in that.
But where do you
done.
stand on it personally?
It totally depends.
What does it depend
Case
on?
to case.
Okay, so like, can you give us a sense of what case you would be in support of and what case you wouldn't be in support of?
Definitely somebody who's violated, not choice,
So someone who's been
Yeah,
assaulted.
assaulted.
Okay.
and it wasn't their choice.
Mhm.
Also, it's interesting because Oregon it's one of the few states that has a law where a woman who's pregnant, by choice, is murdered, could be 8th month. It's a 1 murder, whereas opposed to California and Washington, that's considered 2.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I know. Sorry. I know, right?
It's interesting.
A lot of people don't know that. So it's just little things like that is nuanced.
So
And
you would be supportive of the state legislative ban on abortion? No, but like even if it had carve-outs or like, so you wouldn't be supportive of any sort of new state legislation regarding abortion?
I would be in favor of a time limit, like not
Like what time?
day of birth. So I would say whatever the mandate for the federal is, and anyone who's like a child or raped or sexual assault, because we
So
already
you would
have that
support a
in.
federal mandate on like a federal legislation?
If they have that.
Yeah, okay.
If they have that written out.
Do you think that the 2020 election was fair?
To be honest, I didn't even think about it,
Oh.
to be honest.
So you can't say that it was 100% fair.
I didn't do any research or anything. That's not my world. No. I tell people you mean the presidential?
Yeah, who'd you vote for?
I don't even remember. I'd have to go look. I think it was an independent.
But so you didn't vote for Trump?
I don't know. I have to go back and look. I don't even remember it. Sorry.
Nice.
Do you
I don't
remember-
care that much about a
Do you remember
presidential.
who you voted for in 2016?
2016? No.
Okay.
I have no. Sorry.
Do you know what is it about
To
your
be
opponent?
honest, I kind of talk. I tell people I'm like I don't really care about whoever the president because they don't affect my day.
What do you know about your opponent? Have you met him or have you talked to him? Never seen him in person?
No.
Okay, never heard of him before?
No.
Okay. Do you know if he has any you're probably not the right person to ask about that.
Yeah.
Do you know if he has any endorsements?
I have no idea.
Okay. Okay.
I don't.
Who's your biggest endorser?
Biggest endorser.
The one maybe you take the most pride in being endorsed by?
I'm endorsed by the Young Republicans, which I thought was interesting because I'm not young. I was like, oh. Okay.
Who's your biggest campaign contributor? Who have you gotten the most money from?
I'd have to look and see and go back and look at my Orstar and check it.
Do you
Are
know
there-
how much money you've raised? Have you raised a lot of money in this campaign?
No, I wouldn't say a lot. Probably like 20,000, if that.
Okay.
Most of people are like, let's see how the primary goes, and then we'll talk to you.
Yeah.
And that's on both sides.
Yeah.
Every side, they
Yeah.
usually are like, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
We don't know about you.
What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on the whole Brian Stout 5-year restraining order, and I mean, obviously he's facing some really serious allegations of assault.
To be honest, I didn't even know about it. Wasn't in my radar. Wasn't in my world.
When did you first hear about it?
After, like, they asked me to run.
Oh, and who's they?
I was just trying to think who there was. It wasn't necessarily a person. It was like, I answered a text, to be honest, that said,
Well, it can't be from an anonymous person.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's like, who was it?
asked
Was
you to
it
run?
the Republican Party? Was
No,
it the
not-
Right to Life group? Like,
it was
who?
not right.
Okay.
No.
So who was it?
They didn't care that much. They didn't know who it was. So, it was literally, I'll tell you a story. I answered a text that said, and I really, to be honest, thought it was about a Washington County,
Commission.
yeah. And it was like, as a registered Republican, would you ever be interested in running for a position? And
Did
I
you know
said,
this person?
No. I thought it was a scam. I mean.
So you literally don't know who sent the text?
I'm not sure.
Were
And
you
I said
gonna
yes.
respond? Oh, okay.
Of course I did.
Okay.
Because it was like enough. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I am, I was like, oh, that's right.
Interesting.
Because you don't think about it I don't.
Do you know if they like sent it to you specifically, or was it
No.
like a blast?
It was a blast.
Did they send you paperwork? Like, did they like, is there a
This is so
website?
confusing.
I want to get one
No.
of these texts.
So because when you see stuff, sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, that's so scammy, right?
Yeah.
It's spammy. Well, I think a lot of people really thought it was, but the fact that it said registered Republican, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. It kind of like, okay, so and it said a position, and I was like, oh, maybe this is that I was thinking about, and so.
I've never heard that.
And they
That's bizarre.
said, yeah. I said, yes. And then they answered back, would you be willing to have a phone call?
So
or
who was the phone call with?
His name is David.
And who was he with?
He's his own business.
Is he like a consultant? Like
A consultant,
Okay, so he's a
yeah.
political consultant.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was just like, no, we sent this. I go, who'd you send this to? Like, did you find my profile?
Do you know what company he's with, or
I'm not positive.
Okay.
But
do you know his last name?
I have to about it. I'm not positive.
Okay, I'd be really curious to know if you can find that.
But it
information.
was a blast. I think I was of the age group of only people that would text back, right? So it was probably older. You know what I mean?
The Nigerian print scam that like trying to get people to run.
No, it was just like to see if anybody was interested, because.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. And
But the people who did answer back were all like older, and so they didn't really. They're not technologically savvy. Let's just say that.
Got it.
So I live on a text.
Yeah.
So I would much rather. I'm like, can we just text us? You know what I mean? Instead of talking to.
Cool. Well, I don't think we have one more.
Oh, the
We have
fun
a
question. We always end with a fun question.
Okay.
So this fun question is, if there was a movie made about your life, what actor or actress would play you?
Oh, that's funny. That's a good one.
Thanks.
I might
It's
steal
like the
that.
first one who said it. That's funny.
I think that's great. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Well, when I was younger, everybody said I looked like, I'm trying to think of her name. She was on, you guys won't have a clue who it is. It was on General Hospital, Luke and Laura, Jeannie Francis.
Jeannie.
They would say, oh my gosh, you look like Jeannie Francis.
Oh,
And I'm
I can
like-
see it.
I was like,
Jeannie Francis. Oh, I can definitely see that. That's a good one. That's a good one. All right, we'll take it. We'll take it. Great. Well, thank you for coming in. When is our endorsement issue?
May 1st.
Actually, we need your photo.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh.
You're going to the photo station.
Do they filter? Do you do?
You'll